First, I'm priming my eyes using Painterly Paint Pot from MAC, and I like to do my eyes before I do my face makeup just because it can get messy sometimes, and if you get fallout from your eyeshadow and it sticks to your foundation, it will be kind of hard to get off. The first eyeshadow I'm using is Caramel from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I'm using almost all Anastasia eyeshadows today unless I state otherwise. And I'm using a fluffy blending brush from Makeup Geek, and I'm putting this in the very outer corner of my eye, and then when there's no product left on my brush, I'm just blending it inwards. And now I'm taking Morocco, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just layering this color over top of that caramel eyeshadow. I'm using the same brush, and first I'm just applying the color right onto the outer corner and then blending it inwards. And now I'm using Red Earth, so I start out with the lighter color and then going in a little bit darker and then darker each shadow I use. I'm using a fluffy brush for all this because I don't want this to be too dark and intense. I want this to be really blown out and smoky throughout my whole lid. I'm taking Hot Chocolate now, and I'm using a little detailer brush to put this against my lash line. I'm doing this a little bit thicker than I would if I were like using a black eyeshadow, so I'm just applying this where I would normally apply my eyeliner, and then in the outer corner I'm bringing it up a little bit, then blending it out with this brush. If you want to skip this part, you can just use a black eyeshadow, which I'm going to go on with next anyways, but I love the way it looks when it fades up from black to dark brown eyeshadow, especially for this look. I really wanted everything to be smoked out. Now I'm using my Sigma E25 blending brush to smoke out my lash line and just to blend everything together. Now I'm taking a black eyeshadow. This is Corrupt from Makeup Geek, and I'm using a little angled brush from MAC, and I'm doing exactly what I did with the brown eyeshadow. I'm just making it thinner. When you do this technique, you want to use the lighter colors first and make it thicker, so you'd want to bring it up higher on the lid, and then as you go in with darker colors, make it thinner and closer to the lash line, because that's what's going to give you that really gradient faded look when you blend it out. Now I'm taking Woodwinked eyeshadow. This is from MAC. It's a gold bronzy shade. It goes so well with these eyeshadows. So I'm using the same fluffy brush, and I'm just going to apply this color to the inner corner of my lid to meet those brown shades in the outer corner. If you want to get the most intensity and pigment out of this eyeshadow, you'd want to use a flat, stiff brush, and you could also wet your brush. That would really make the eyeshadow stand out. But I really wanted this look to be really soft and smoky, so that's why I'm using this brush. Then I'm taking a different fluffy brush, and I'm using Bone eyeshadow from Anastasia. You want to take an eyeshadow about 2 to 3 shades lighter than your skin tone, and this is going to start the process of highlighting your brow bone, and it will also help blend out the colors in the crease if you bring them up too high. I'm taking mascara. I've said lots of times before that I like applying my mascara before I curl my lashes, just because the mascara gives the lashes some texture and gives the curl something to hold on to. So I use the Maybelline Pumped Up Colossal mascara, and now I'm curling my lashes. And I'm going to be applying my falsies, but my camera died and I didn't realize, so I only have a clip of me applying lashes to one eye, but I wait for the glue to get tacky. If you don't, it will be sliding all over your eye, and I use my tweezers to apply them, and then once they're on, I go back in with my lash curler to bind my real ones to my fake ones. Moving on to my face now, I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Brightening and Tightening Complexion Primer Potion to prime my face. If you don't know what a primer is, it's just like a cream or a gel, depending on what kind you buy, but it's going to help make your foundation last longer, and there's tons of primers you can get for hydrating, redness, pores, whatever you need. There's tons of primers out there that will fill your needs. Basically, every brand has one now. And for foundation, I'm going to be mixing two together. I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Skin and the Laura Mercier Silk Cream Foundation. I had a little bit extra foundation, so I'm applying it down my neck, even though mixing these two foundations together gave me my perfect color. If your foundation doesn't match your neck 100%, you want to drag it down your neck so your face isn't a different color. Remember, when you pick out your foundation, you want to match it to your neck, not your face. I think that's the most common mistake people make when they first start using foundations. And now for concealer, I'm using the Tarte Maracuja Creaseless Concealer, which I'm going to say right now, this concealer does crease on me. No matter what, a concealer will crease. If it doesn't right away, it will later on throughout the day if you don't set it with a powder. Because if it's a liquid or a cream, it's going to settle in your lines, especially under the eyes, so just make sure to set it with a powder. And I'm taking a little bit of the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer, and I'm just putting a little bit under my eyes as well, just to highlight a little more. On the camera, the Tarte concealer looked a little bit lighter than it actually is in person. I like to have a bright under eye, not too light, but just a little something. So since I'm using this under my eyes, I'm also going to put it down the bridge of my nose, at the center of my forehead, and my chin. Then I'm blending everything out with a damp beauty blender. Make sure when you use a beauty blender you get it wet under the faucet and then squeeze out the excess water, and your beauty blender will become bigger and fluffier. And after I'm done with my beauty blender, I just go back in with my foundation brush just to ensure everything is blended together. Then to set my concealer, I'm going to be using the banana shade from the Anastasia contour kit. This is also going to help highlight under the eye area because it has a yellow tint to it. If you're extremely fair, it won't really highlight as much. I can't use this to highlight when I don't have a tan. I can use it to set my concealer, but it just won't highlight. So this would be good for medium skin tones. She also has a vanilla shade that is good for fair skin, so I'm just going to be putting this powder everywhere I applied the concealer. To contour, I'm using the blush from MAC called Blunt, and since I'm naturally really fair, I use a cool tone bronzer that's more gray because that's what's going to look the best on pale skin and will look more like a shadow. If I didn't have a tan right now, this color would be too dark for me, but since I'm a little bit darker, I can get away with using this. So I'm just applying it in the hollows of my cheeks, the top of my forehead. If you have a bigger forehead, doing this will help make it look smaller, but you want to apply it just to the top of your forehead, not your entire forehead, or it will do the opposite. Now I'm taking a translucent powder and I'm just going to put this right under my contour. This will help clean up your contour and it will also set your foundation that you applied there just so it doesn't move throughout the day. And I used the Sigma 3D brush to apply it. And I took a contour brush from Zoeva to sweep it off and blend it downwards. And I wanted pink cheeks, so I'm going in with this blush from Dior. I'm not bringing it all the way back into my bronzer. I'm just putting the product on the apples of my cheeks. Then when there's nothing left on the brush, I'm blending it together. And then I took this translucent powder again and I put it on a dual fiber brush and I'm using this to blend around my blush and contour. If you use cream products on your face, like a cream contour and cream blush, you could go back in with your foundation brush without adding any extra foundation. Just take the brush and use it to blend it out. Now I'm highlighting. I'm using a highlighter from Galactic in the shade Bronze and I'm just applying it to the tops of my cheekbones. And then for my brows, I'm taking the Brow Wiz pencil and I'm using the spoolie to brush through them. And then I'm drawing out the shape of my brow, and then I take a brow powder to fill it in. And both products are from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And now I'm taking hot chocolate and I'm putting this really tight against my lower lash line and I'm bringing it all the way from the inner corner to the outer corner of my eye, just blending it back and forth. And then I'm taking Red Earth and I'm doing the same thing with it. I'm just bringing it down a little bit lower and then blending it out into that hot chocolate shade. And now I'm taking a fluffier lid brush and I'm using Morocco eyeshadow to blend everything out. You don't have to smoke out your lower lash line if you don't want to. I like to though because it helps open up your eyes. Then for my lips, I'm using the Buxom True Nude Lip Foundation and this is the finished look. I hope you guys liked it and I'll see you in my next video.